Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we jump right into the action here with the Cup Series here at the Pocono doubleheader at, of course, Pocono Raceway here at the Tricky Triangle. So we have two Cup Series races coming at you guys here today. In the first one, of course, we have the actual Craftsman paint scheme on the car here for the Tricky Triangle. So Pocono, not quite sure how I'm going to do at this track yet. Obviously haven't come here in the Cup Series, and of course we're only going to get two chances at it real quick today, and then we don't have to come here till next season. So one thing I do enjoy about this doubleheader is we can just get Pocono out of the way, because this is my least favorite track in real life as well as in the video game here in NASCAR Heat 5. Now has come through the tunnel turn down into turns 3 here on our qualifying attempt. It wasn't a great lap. It was a goal of a 54.131, and we come through out of turns 3, heading down this front straightaway. We're actually going to maybe beat the goal. It's close. We do beat it with a 54.048, but we qualify P14 here in Pocono. So not the greatest effort, but you know what? It's actually a little bit better than what we've had over the last few races. Now, as you see the rest of the order on screen, Denny Hamlin, our teammate, all the way down in P29. That's a little bit concerning to see a teammate down that far, especially Denny Hamlin, who's been on top of the game this season here in the career mode. Now, as you see, Jimmy Johnson there in P18. Boyer rounds out the top 10, and on the pole, we got Ryan Blaney. Shocker there. He's been up front a lot this season, but before we jump into this race, we got a playoff standings to look at here. So I've made this little graphic for the videos from now on that you will see at certain points, as well as I'm going to have a live playoff graphic. But Christopher Bell, the first guy out, 29 points up. But you look at over us, P8, 173 points to the good, as well as you saw 11th through 16th now. So let me know, the first time using that, let me know if you guys want me to maybe leave it up longer. But now we're going to hand it over to our pit reporter of Andrew.
Joe Gibbs Racing has been on fire lately, winning 8 of the last 10 races this season, and all of their drivers have made it to victory lane, with the exception of Gary Owen. Owen has had a consistent rookie season, but many are wondering if he's starting to feel the pressure now that his teammates have all won multiple times.
Alright guys, Tricky Triangle. I'm going to do everything I can here to get around this track the best I can and get you guys that win. I really want to bring you guys a win. Alright, there you heard it from Andrew, the pit reporter, as well as myself on the radio now, as we're getting ready to go green here at the Tricky Triangle for race number 1 of 2 here on this episode for Pocono in the Cup Series. Now, as the green flag is out from P14, and we are underway on the outside here of our affiliate teammate of the 95 of Christopher Bell. As we saw on that graphic before the race, Bell over 20 points out of the playoffs right now, but is the first guy out. And he would be in right now if it wasn't actually for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning recently at Sonoma Raceway. Now, as we dive down into turns 1, Stenhouse, of course, way outside the playoff picture, but him now with that win in Sonoma, he is locked into the playoffs now, as he will definitely be able to stay in the top 30 in points. Now, as we go down this back straightaway side by side with the RCR driver of Austin Dillon, we clear him here as we go down towards the tunnel turn for the first time in this race here in the Pocono Organics 325 now, as we come through right behind the 95 of Christopher Bell, just being a little bit cautious here. But now I'm going to get aggressive, go 3 wide up the inside of Bell and Byron as we dive down into turns 3. Ryan Blaney still leading the way here as they come through turns 3 now, as we're up the inside of Byron still, but he has the momentum on the exit of the corner to actually get clear of myself. Even Bell almost attacks back on my inside there, so definitely not a great exit for myself on the exit of 3. But now we make a 3 wide with help from the draft on Boyer and Byron as we go down towards turns 1. We clear Boyer, but Byron remains alongside of myself as we go into the corner now up the inside of the 42 of Matt Kenseth. But one thing I'm noticing right off the bat, Ryan Blaney definitely does not have a race winning speed in that car. He is holding up a whole bunch of cars right now, and it's really just a matter of time probably until he loses that lead. But right now he's doing a very good job defending. As you can see, stage 1 is only 5 laps here in Pocono. Very short now, as obviously the lengths are a little bit different due to the double header now. As we came through, though, on lap 3 laps ago, we had run down this next group of cars. We are now in P10, making a move for P9 on Eric Almirola. Now we're going to get up the inside as well of Kurt Busch, as Blaney continues to lead, and he's just holding up everybody right now as we dive down into turns 3. And of course, this plays right into our advantage. So of course, I'm all for him staying in the way right now as we go down this front stretch side by side with Eric Almirola. Definitely don't have the exit to the corners that I'm looking for, but we cleared Almirola down towards turns 1 with help from the draft, and so we take over P9 and get right once again on the back of the 1 car of Kurt Busch there for Chip Ganassi Racing. Now as we're going to get up the inside of him, he's looking for win number 1 on the season. He's in a solid position right now to where he doesn't have to worry too much in the playoff picture as we dive down into this tunnel turn up the inside. We can actually get through the tunnel turn really well, better than the AI, but if you go in there side by side with them, it definitely hurts hurts my progress through there more now as we go past Kurt Busch. Now we're going to go to the inside of the 19 and the 88 here of Martin Truex Jr. as well as Alex Bowman and try to move up into P6 as Blaney continues to be in the way of everybody, and he refuses to move clearly at this point here as I do my best to clear Martin Truex Jr. We do get ahead of him as we cross the line, but then as we went down into turns 1, we now go back up the inside of the 88 of Alex Bowman. Truex still right there with me, but we do clear him finally as we come through out of turns 1, now up into P6. This already being the final lap here in stage 1 because stage 1's so short. Of course, we got to be aggressive. We go 3 wide up the inside of Keselowski and Harvick. Blaney's still holding up everybody here as we dive down into the tunnel turn side by side with Keselowski not wanting to be side by side because you can just see how much slower I get through here as we got to the back there a little bit of Kevin Harvick as we go down this straightaway for the final time as we dive down into turn 3 once again. 3 wide into turn 3. A lot of 3 wide racing to start this race here in Pocono now as we try to clear Harvick on the exit of turn 3, but Ryan Blaney is ahead of Logano and Kyle Busch who are side by side. Keselowski gets ahead of me as we come through to the line side by side as well with Harvick, but we get him at the line to hold on to the 5th position here in stage 1. So we started P14 and we climbed up 9 positions to get up into the 5th spot. So a very solid start to the race. Ryan Blaney holding up everybody definitely helped, and somehow he managed to hang on for all 5 laps here in stage 1 to get the stage victory. So we would pay for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires. I did not make any adjustments to the car. I felt like we might as well just stick with what we got for now, as really 5 laps wasn't enough time for me to get a feel of exactly how this car was going to be. So hopefully we'll get a better idea here in stage 2, which I'm sure is going to be a little bit longer than that first stage. Now as Ryan Blaney loses the lead on the pit stop, which is just great for everybody pretty much now, as the green flag is back out and we are underway for stage 2, which is double the length of stage 1. So definitely enough time here to kind of get an idea of what our car is going to be driving like now as we get going down towards turns 1. Keselowski and Logano make up that second row, but all Penske cars right now up inside the top 4, and then myself and Kyle Busch are the 2 JGR cars making up the top 5 now as we come through out of turns 1, clearing Kevin Harvick now side by side with Joey Logano as we go down this first back straightaway, and you see Blaney drops down to P3 and you can just see down the straightaway he just doesn't have that speed that anybody else has right now. Blaney, of course, 3 wins I think this season now, trying to get win number 4, but definitely not going to be happening today now as we're side by side with Logano as we exit the tunnel turn, trying to get past him as quickly as possible, but definitely I was noticing it was really hard to pass at certain points of this track, especially in the tunnel turn and into turn 3. Blaney clearly slower than pretty much everybody up here, and I still couldn't pass him through turns 3 now as we go down this front straightaway side by side again with Joey Logano as he might clear us on this front stretch unless he gets stuck behind his teammate of Blaney just like that as we come through fighting back here with 9 laps to go in stage 2. Keselowski and Kyle Busch driving away at this point as I was going to send it up the inside of Blaney, but he kind of started coming down, so I just made sure he could we weren't going to have an incident there, so I played it a little bit cautious right there. Now as we come through out of turns 1 a little bit sideways now as I'm just trying to figure out what to do here to get past Ryan Blaney because he's just in the way. So I move up to the outside here with the 22 of Joey Logano, the 2018 champion. See if we can make a move into the tunnel turn, but no, there's contact with Ryan Blaney, and up the track we go into the outside wall just a little bit there. Not enough contact to put some damage on the car, but then we get hit by the 14 of Clint Boyer, and now we get put in the wall again because of that, and we drop down to P12 now as Kenseth is going to get up our inside as well. So just like that, out of nowhere, one little mistake, that was on me, I came down too far and unfortunately clipped Blaney in the right rear quarter panel, and of course we pushed up the track into the outside wall. We got very lucky though to not really get any damage out of it, so we had to stay focused here and try to fight back. We know we have a car capable of being in the top 5. I'm not sure if we have a winning car because Keselowski's car right now is very, very fast, and sure enough, out of the tunnel turn here on lap 3 of 10, we would pass Clint Boyer, take over P11, and we were just making up so much time in this tunnel turn as the stage went on. We ran down Eric Almirola as we went down towards turn 3. We would pass him without a single problem at all, and now we were back up inside the top 10, and sure enough we get to the back of the 24 now of William Byron, and that tunnel turn is exactly where I was able to make all the passes. As if I came into the tunnel turn behind them, I was able to get through there so well and just blow by them. So I was actually kind of making sure I would stay behind the car in front of me into the tunnel turn just so I could get a better run off now as we came through turn 3. Now up into P9, and then sure enough we run down Ryan Blaney. You can just see, look how far back I was right there at the beginning of the tunnel turn, and we just go right to the inside of Blaney as we dive down towards turn 3, and now we're going to take over the 8th position. He fights back into the corner, but we send it in good enough or hard enough to be able to clear him, and now we would set our sights on Alex Bowman in the 88 car as Keselowski continued to lead the way here with 4 laps to go in stage 2. but definitely feeling really confident in the car at this point of the track. I just felt like if we just get into the right spot, maybe we'll be able to even pull off a top 3, a top 2, hopefully even a win now as we go down this front stretch now. So P7 with just 2 laps to go, and unfortunately though the next 6 cars were way too far down the line to run down, so we come through starting the final lap here in stage 2. So far a very calm race in the first Pocono race of 2 here today as we come through out of the tunnel turn for the final time in stage 2, going down this final back straightaway in the Pocono Organics 325 at Pocono Raceways. We dive down into turn 3, so Kevin Harvick holds on to P6. Kyle Busch, our teammate, up in second place, but nobody has anything for Brad Keselowski at this moment as he came through to easily win stage 2, and we're going to come through here to cross the line for P7 in the second stage. So not a bad effort here in stage 2. Definitely I think we have a way better car than 7th place, which I haven't really been able to say that much this season, but I really feel it today now as the right rear tire was actually down to 24%, so that got into close to the danger zone now, as we would of course come into the pit lane here at the end of stage 2 for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 tires. But I decided we're actually going to make a tire pressure adjustment. I put it from 40 psi or whatever it is on the right sides down to 38. So hopefully that will tighten us up just a little bit. I felt a little bit too free at times there in that run, and I felt like that was going to really hurt our progress. But we gained 1 spot on the pit lane, overtaking Kurt Busch. So now we'll restart on row number 3 as Kyle Busch falls down to 5th place now as the green flag is back out. The third and final stage is underway here in race number 1 at Pocono. Only 11 laps here in the third and final stage. Keselowski, Joey Logano on the front row. On row number 2, it's Martin Truex Jr. as well as Kevin Harvick, and then Kyle Busch and myself here on row number 3. Right behind us we got Kurt Busch and Alex Bowman as we dive down into turns 1 now, as I really dislike being on the outside here in Pocono, especially through turns 1. It's just such a disadvantage, but we do at least make the most of what we can here. We get a solid run out on the exit of turns 1 here as we go down this first back straightaway. Kyle Busch side by side with Kevin Harvick, but I really feel like nobody has anything for Brad Keselowski in this race, and Keselowski has gone winless so far this season, and he's looking for win number 1. And you know, another driver who's gone winless is a driver right in front of me. Kevin Harvick in real life has 9 wins this season, and here in the career mode, nothing so far as we dive down into turns 3, trying to get up the inside of him. Now as we got a little bit of pressure there from Kurt Busch, but we were able to defend that off pretty well now as we come through out of turn 3 with a run on the back of the 4 car, but just not quite enough speed. But we use that draft from Kyle Busch to actually get to the inside of Kevin Harvick as we head down towards turns 1 side by side with the 2014 Cup Series champion right behind Kyle Busch as we go down into turns 1. Right there, you can notice my car kind of slips out a little bit. That was why I made that tire pressure adjustment, to get it a little bit tighter, but clearly I didn't go far enough on the right rear tire pressures because I just slid right there into the corner, and that's really going to hurt us now as we go down this backstretch. Keselowski under a little bit of pressure actually from our teammate Martin Truex Jr. Then Logano is right on the back of Truex. There's like a sideways again through the tunnel turn, and you can just see how much worse I get through the tunnel turn when I'm right around another car instead of kind of a bit behind them, getting the run on them now as we dive down into turn 3. Doing everything I can here to clear Kevin Harvick as we're going to push up out of turns 3. We're getting a little bit tight, and we get to the outside wall on the exit of turns 3 as I was pushing way too hard to try and clear the 4 of Kevin Harvick there, as he just barely got into my right rear quarter panel as well on the way up, and unfortunately a rookie mistake on my part, and I really should have known better trying to pull that move off because it was not going to work. Sorry guys, that was all on me there. I was doing everything I could to clear him because it is so hard to pass right there on him. I'm sorry. There you heard my radio transmission from myself. They're just apologizing to the team. Of course, though, we had to stay focused. There is, of course, some right side damage to the car, but it really didn't affect the car as bad as I thought it would, because we come through now on lap 24, and we were past Alex Bowman without a problem in the same spot that we've been passing everybody so far here today. And sure enough, we run down Ryan Newman here on lap 25, already running out of time very quickly, though, here in Pocono now, as this third and final stage is pretty short. Race number 1 is shorter than race number 2. Do keep that in mind now as we come through turn 3. So we would get up to P7, but unfortunately, after I got up to P7, I had struggled to close the gap to Kevin Harvick now, as actually I clearly, you can see, lost time to the front 6 drivers, as Keselowski just continued to put a show on here. He was dominating this race here, unfortunately for us now, but obviously great for him. And then sure enough, we come through now on lap 30, 3 laps to go. Kyle Busch has now dropped down into the 6th position, I believe that is now, as I just could not run these guys down, and to my surprise, this has been a very clean race other than my own mistake. So it was just staying green to the end, it seemed like, at this point now. And sure enough, we come through to hit 2 laps to go, and it's still absolutely nothing. We're just kind of on an island of our own at this point, just kind of chilling. And we came through to start the final lap here in race number 1, running P7. Definitely race number 1 of Pocono, the most uneventful, probably race of the season so far now as we dive down into this first corner. And not surprised at all by Pocono. Another reason I hate Pocono, absolutely nothing happens, it seems like, when we come to this track now as we come through heading down this first back straightaway now. So all in all, though, we got stage points. We had a solid race. Of course, I made a rookie mistake there trying to clear Kevin Harvick. I put the throttle down, and I was doing everything I could to slide up in front of him, and unfortunately, it just did not work, and we went into the wall instead and lost some time. Now as we go through, we're down at this back straightaway here for the final time, and you see Newman and Bowman there in the background trying to run us down as we dive down towards turn 3, but obviously, if we don't make a mistake, we will hang on, and sure enough, we come through turns 3 with no problems at all, and we're going to hang on to a 7th place finish now as Brad Keselowski gets win number 1 of the season to lock himself into the playoffs as we cross the line for that P7 finish. So cannot complain at least about a 7th place finish as you see Joey Logano there in P2. So Penske starts off the Pocono doubleheader with a 1-2 finish. Blaney all the way down in P11. Jimmy Johnson got a top 10. Johnson, I don't know if a top 10 is going to cut it. He still is probably going to have to win. He's not even in the top 20 right now. So very unfortunate because remember a handful of episodes ago, Jimmy Johnson was like the last car in the playoffs. And now look at him. He's way down the order just because of a few DNFs. None of his doing. Just bad luck. Very unfortunate for the 7-time champion. There, as you see, the playoffs on your screen. I'll throw up the playoff graphic here in just a moment to give you guys a legitimate look at what kind of points everybody needs. But before we end race number 1 and go into race number 2, we have a post-race interview with Matt O'Brien.
I'm here with Gary Owen after a top 10 finish to start the Pocono doubleheader. We saw you make a mistake that set you back in the last stage. Did you have anything for the front runners before that?
Honestly, Matt, I think we had something for a top 3 there. I don't think anyone had anything for Keselowski, but yeah, I mean, nonetheless, a very kind of subpar day for us. Nothing really happened there. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about, but other than we know what adjustments we need to make. We need to make the car tighter for Pocono number 2, and yeah, I mean, that's just really the goal going into that one. So yeah, we'll see what we can do there. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a better finish and maybe even contend for the win there. All right, there you heard the post-race interview. Very quick for myself, not much to talk about, but you see the playoff grid now on the screen. Keselowski goes yellow because he's now locked in. We're now 194 points to the good along with Kevin Harvick. Newman on back to Custer, less than 80 points to the good. Bell actually gained some points. He's now 22 out, but Matt DiBenedetto down now in P20, being 37 points out after that race now as we're going to get ready to go green, of course, now for race number 2 here in Pocono. Here, of course, we got to qualify now as we got the DeWalt colors back on the car for this one. But like I said at the beginning of the video, if you guys want me to actually keep the playoff grid up longer, maybe to get a better look at that, then definitely let me know now as we dive down into turns 1 here. I changed the setup a bit, and when I say that, I mean I changed the preset setup. I went 1 click further over to the left. I think I was 2 clicks or I was like 3 clicks over to the right, and then I went 1 back to 2 or something like that, closer to the middle portion of the presets to give us just a little bit more of a tight car here as we came through, and it definitely paid off here in qualifying for race 2. We qualified 14th in the first race, and we actually get into the 53-second range here for Pocono 2, and we qualify a couple positions better here in the 12th position. So definitely a little bit more speed here with the better, tighter car, and hopefully that will pay off here for us in race number 2 in Pocono here. This very unique doubleheader now. Jimmy Johnson once again actually as well with a solid qualifying effort. He's going to be up inside the top 10. And on the pole, we got Chase Elliott now as we're going to head back into our pit reporter here for Andrew as we get ready to go green here for race number 2.
Penske Racing looks strong this weekend with Brad Keselowski getting his first win of the season in the first half of the Pocono doubleheader, so look for that trio to be strong again today. Gary Owen is also notable to look out for, who had a strong car in yesterday's race. A mistake did set him back, but he feels confident coming into today's race with some much-needed adjustment.
Alright guys, we had speed in race number 1, and I think the car feels even better today, so I think we might have a chance to do something here. Let's go get it. Alright, there you heard the radio transmission once again from myself there. As you see, Matt DiBenedetto starting at the back of the field here. Unfortunately there, as he had some inspection issues, I think it was now, as we get ready to go green here for the Pocono 300 here for race number 2 of the Pocono doubleheader here in this unique episode in the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode. Now as the green flag is underway, and for the second race in a row, we start alongside Christopher Bell. He started P13 in the last episode when I started 14th. Well, today in race number 2, he starts P11 while I start P12 as Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin send us off into turns 1 side by side. Now as you see, the 3 of Austin Dillon is able to get up my inside. Kyle Busch actually starts behind me here as we come through turns 1, and they're already going 3 wide behind us to see Cole Custer as well as Ty Dillon and Ryan Newman all going 3 wide. Custer right now comes into this race, the last car in the playoffs right now. Of course, another surprise winner would put him on the outside looking in, so definitely he's going to have to be on the lookout now as we come through this tunnel turn up the inside of Daniel Suarez, who had a very good qualifying run here as we go down the second back straightaway. Chase Elliott loses the lead already to Denny Hamlin, and immediately I could tell Chase Elliott was in a similar position that Ryan Blaney was in the first race now, as he has not got the speed to be running where he is, so I don't even know how he qualified so good. But here he is now once again, slower than a bunch of the cars behind him, and he's going to hold up everybody, and I noticed this right away, so I need to be on the attack here and get what I can get out of it. Now we already passed Joey Logano as well as Keselowski, who just won race number 1 here as we dive down into turns 1 behind the 14 of Clint Boyer, as well as we're up the inside of Chris Buescher, who's really turned it up. Like I said, I mentioned this last episode, I think, that Buescher has really turned it up later in this season, and unfortunately though, I think he's outside the top 20 still, so he definitely has a lot of work to do as we push the 48 of Jimmy Johnson down towards the tunnel turn. Johnson, of course, trying to get in the playoffs for the final time in his career now is his 3 wide with Truex as well as Kurt Busch, so the 7-time champion definitely not afraid to be aggressive as we get up the inside of our teammate of Martin Truex Jr. as well. But you can really see how slow the 9 car is, because look how far away Denny Hamlin has gotten already. We go down now on lap 3 down towards turns 1. I'm being defensive over the 22. I was trying to look up the inside. Sure enough, he still gets up the inside and actually gets into the side of me, and he's going to blow by me, the 19, the 48, and the 1, and he's even going to get up the inside of the 9 car of Chase Elliott here down the backstretch. I did not see that coming. Now, as that was definitely a little bit frustrating. There's some contact actually with the 19 of Truex that kind of got linked up with the 48's bumper, and then I just kind of pulled over into the 19, unfortunately there. But we get up the inside of the 48 here down the straightaway, and we're going to pass him for P5 now as we go up the inside of Kurt Busch here as we dive down into turn 3. So we pass the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, and now we try to take over P4 from Kurt Busch, but still struggling to pass when we're side by side into turn 3. It's so hard, but we had that draft from the 9 car. We know he's slower, so immediately I get over to the left-hand side, and we're now already side by side with that 9 of Chase Elliott. This time we don't even have draft help, and we're still able to get up the inside of that 9 car here as we dive down towards turns 1. So Hamlin, Logano, P1, P2, and now we dive into turns 1, and we're going to take over P3 from Chase Elliott, who tries to fight back through the center of the corner, but he had absolutely nothing for me right there. So we take over the 3rd position here as we go down this first back straightaway. So that was as far as we got though here in stage 1. We come through now on the final lap in stage 1, which was only 1 more lap than the first race, so very short first stages here in this doubleheader. But Joey Logano was running down Denny Hamlin. It was pretty evident that Hamlin was not as fast as we thought he was, simply just due to Chase Elliott holding up everybody, and Elliott continued to hold up everybody as he actually started falling down the order a little bit. But then the caution comes out here on the final lap in stage 1, ends it half a lap early, and we get P3 here in the first stage in the second and final race of the Pocono doubleheader. Jimmy Johnson rounds out the top 10, so a much needed stage point for him. Of course, he's going to need way more stage points than that if he really wants to get into the playoffs on points. Now he's pretty much, I think, after Indianapolis, you could say he's pretty much out of time to get in on points. He's going to have to win. But we would pit for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires. Hamlin loses the lead on the pit stop, jumps down to P3. Myself and Logano both overtake him and get up here into P2 for the restart. Now, as stage 2 is underway here at the Tricky Triangle, and now we're going to be side by side with the 2018 Cup Series champion of Joey Logano now, as he is already locked in the playoffs. Of course, all the Penske drivers are locked in the playoffs, and as Andrew said on the pit lane there before the start of the race, Penske has been very strong so far this weekend with Keselowski winning, and of course there was a 1-2 for Penske in race number 1, and now Logano trying to lead that empire to victory here today. Now as we're side by side with Denny Hamlin here as we go down this first back straightaway, so Logano gets clear without a problem. I can never really make that outside work in any of these corners here at Pocono, but we use that draft to actually get clear of Denny Hamlin as we dive down into turn 3. I definitely drove in a little bit deeper there to make sure I cleared Hamlin because I did not want to go through there side by side on the outside. Last time that happened was in race number 1 with Ryan Blaney, and unfortunately that set us back for the whole second stage now as we're already on the back of the 22 of Joey Logano. Can we put the pressure on and maybe get the lead here in stage 2? They're 3 wide behind us between Bowman, Hamlin, and Kurt Busch. Hamlin dropping down the order now as he clearly doesn't quite have enough speed in the car as we hit 11 laps to go here in stage 2. A very long second stage, still double the length compared to stage 1 now, as I was a little bit concerned about the fuel situation, of course, as there's about 12 laps of fuel in the car as well, if I'm not mistaken, with the times 3 fuel and tire wear. Now as we would close in though on the back of Joey Logano here on lap 3, and I decide, you know what, we have enough of a gap to the cars behind. We're going to try and make a move into turn 3. I didn't expect it to work because we're side by side into turn 3 and it's been so hard to pass, and sure enough, it does not work. So that was a little bit frustrating because now I was trying to decide how in the world am I going to be able to pass the leader here now, as Kyle Busch was running myself as well as Joey Logano down from the 3rd position. So that was another concern. So I'm trying to get on the attack. So I try to get him on the exit of the tunnel turn, but then the caution comes out as soon as I make a pass for the lead. I am pretty confident I was in front of Joey Logano when that caution came out, but NASCAR apparently feels differently now, as we're going to get a replay on your screen here of what brought out the caution, as I felt like there's no doubt in my mind I was ahead of the 22 when the yellow flag came out, but apparently NASCAR assumes differently. Here as you see, Matt Kenseth brought out the caution there as he went crashing into the outside wall, clearly lost a tire, and that's not good for him. He's not in a very safe position right now in the playoffs. He is above the cut line, but not comfortably enough to really have a bad day here in Pocono. Do we have enough fuel to get to the end here?
We'll be okay on fuel.
Alright, there you heard it getting reassured by our crew chief about the fuel situation as nobody came to the pit lane there now, as we're back underway here in stage 2, about at the halfway point now in the second stage. Side by side with Logano, we seem to get a better launch here than the Penske driver now as we dive down towards turns 1, but can we get clear of Logano down into turns 1? We cannot as we go into the corner here side by side with the 22. We're about probably 3/4 of a car length ahead of him, but now Logano battles back on that inside here as he's going to clear me with no problem at all here on the exit of turns 1, and now I'm under fire from my Joe Gibbs Racing teammate of Kyle Busch, who did get up my inside here as we go down towards this tunnel turn, but a little bit differently from last time over Hamlin. I'm not able to clear Kyle Busch into tunnel turn, so now we give up P2 and drop down to 3rd place, and now we're even under attack from Kyle's brother of Kurt Busch as we dive down towards turn 3, but thankfully we use the draft here from Kyle to get clear of Kurt as we go into the corner, so trying to stay ahead of him. Then sure enough on lap 9 now, myself, Logano, Kyle Busch all battling it out here in stage 1 or stage 2 for the front position here of P1. Kurt Busch got up my inside again as Kyle Busch gets up the inside of Joey Logano, and now he's going to try and make a move for the lead. So Kyle Busch clearly flexing the speed in that car now, as Denny Hamlin showed it in stage 1, doesn't show it in stage 2. Now Kyle Busch is showing up here to take over the lead and clear Joey Logano through the tunnel turn as Kurt Busch tried to take a look at me, but I was able to hold him off now as we get a great launch on the exit of the tunnel turn here and get up the inside of Joey Logano, and we're going to clear him with no problem at all as we dive down into turn 3, up the inside even of our teammate of Kyle Busch here as we're side by side for the lead again in Pocono, but just like earlier, I cannot complete that pass through turns 3. It's so hard for me now as I just couldn't make it work. So we come through now on the tunnel turn again on lap 10 of 12, 3 to go in stage 2. Kurt Busch now up the inside of Logano behind us, but we get another good run on the exit of the tunnel turn to the inside of the 18 of Kyle Busch, but we got a great run this time as we dive down into turn 3 and we're clear into the corner, and now we are out front here coming to just a few laps to go in this second stage now, as can we hold on for a second stage win of the season in our rookie season here, as we did win a stage a while back and got a playoff point now as we lead the way with 2 laps to go in the tricky triangle. Clearly I don't think we have the speed to run away. I think myself and Kyle Busch are going to be pretty even here as we dive down into turns 1. Of course the tunnel turn really works in my favor. We came through now to start the final lap, and sure enough we had not driven away at all. Kyle Busch still putting the pressure on myself here as we go down towards turns 1. So a little bit concerned about this, of course, now that Kyle is clearly going to be right there putting the pressure on us this whole time, and sure enough he's right there trying to make a look on the exit of turns 1, but we actually have the momentum there as he checks up a little bit there as they come out of turns 1, thankfully, and that allows me to hang on here, and we sure enough come through now into the tunnel turn, nearly getting some contact there with the 18 of Kyle Busch as he dove it in pretty hard now as we dive down towards turns 3 here for the final time in the second stage in the Pocono 350 here. As we come through the center of the corner, we get through here with absolutely no problems at all, and we are clear, well clear of Kyle Busch actually now by a few car lengths, as we're going to come through to win stage 2 here in Pocono. And with that stage win, we're actually going to do a mid-race quick interview here with Matt O'Brien on the stage victory.
Hey Gary, this is Matt. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Well, you just earned your second stage win in your rookie season. How hard was it holding on there?
It was tough for sure, Matt. I don't think we have the best car, but you know what? We're going to go into this third and final stage and just make the most with what we got and see if we can pull off the victory. All right, there you heard what I said. Very brief there with Matt. Now as we get ready to go green for this third and final stage here, where we will be starting P1 here now, as we pitted, of course, for 2 cans of fuel, as well as 4 fresh tires now as we are underway for the third and final stage here, and the Pocono doubleheader with 12 laps to go now as we go through side by side with our teammate of Kyle Busch, the 2015 as well as 2019 Cup Series champion now. He's got multiple wins this season, of course, as we dive down into turns 1. Kyle Busch going to be full force to reckon with now as we get ready to go down towards this final part of the regular season. He's going to fight back to the right-hand side there as I decided to try and protect the bottom. I saw a run coming from both lanes, so I chose to protect the bottom and see what Kyle could do on the top. And he actually is able to drive right by me, and even Logano gets to my outside. And through that tunnel turn, as you guys know, when I'm side by side through that tunnel turn, I just cannot quite get that run that I need. And Logano is going to nearly clear me into 3, and I already know that he is far enough ahead that he's going to clear me here through turns 3 as we come through the center of the corner. And just sure enough, on the exit of the corner, we push up there a little bit into the side of the 22, but he's going to clear us here down this run straightaway. So now I pull in behind him and just try to get ready to make a lunge at him here, as we're going to actually stay in behind him here for the start of this third and final stage and just kind of push him down towards turns 1 to close up the gap to our teammate of Kyle Busch here, as they're side by side behind us between Kurt Busch as well as Kevin Harvick. Ryan Newman as well up inside the top 10 here in this third and final stage of the Pocono 350. So Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, myself, round out your top 3. Hamlin still there in the bottom half of the top 10, but clearly just didn't quite have that speed to come in fight here in the Pocono doubleheader, but he still managed to get a stage victory out of it. And you know, that's how you win championships, not having the best car, but still being able to pull off strong performances with it. Now as we get a huge run, of course, on Logano as we dive down into turn 3, but of course, being on the outside, I had absolutely nothing for him. I knew when if I didn't clear him into turn 3, I was not going to be able to make the pass. Now, as we came through, though, with just 10 laps to go already, the caution actually comes out here with 10 laps to go. Enough fuel in the car to where nobody's going to have to pit, but Ryan Newman appears to be the one that brought out the caution. I could not find what happened in the replay, but clearly he is the one that brought out the caution, which is going to have implications. Ryan Newman is less than 100 points to the good above that cut line, so it could get very interesting for Ryan Newman here on that playoff picture. But like I said, no pit stop necessary here as we're underway for what could be the final restart here at the Tricky Triangle here in Pocono. Now, just 7 laps to go here in Pocono, side by side with Kurt Busch. We get a very good launch here on the back of the 18, as well as the 22 of Kyle Busch and Logano. We're going to get aggressive here. We want our first win here in our rookie season. We're going to go 3 wide for the lead into turns 1 here in the Pocono 350, and we clear Kyle Busch as well as Logano, but we push up through the center of the corner and exit. Now that leaves the door open for Kyle Busch to fight back up the inside now as he's going to get by us. I tried to side draft him, but I just don't have enough there to actually hold him back. So he gets clear as we go down towards the tunnel turn, but we still did at least gain the second position out of that move now as Kevin Harvick nearly gets into the back of me now as we're about a car length or so behind Kyle, but we close in once again here as we go down towards turn 3, knowing that it's so hard to pass. We need to still try and make that pass as quickly as possible here, as we would though settle in just behind him there. But on lap 30 now, out of the tunnel turn, a good run now as Harvick has moved his way up into 3rd place past Joey Logano. So I'm up the inside again of Kyle Busch now as we have not once been able to complete this pass for the lead here today in this third and final stage. At least we did, of course, in stage 2 to get that stage victory, but here in the third and final stage we have not been able to do it, and we've only been able to do it in the race as a whole one time here. And sure enough, on lap 31, 5 laps to go, once again the same move. Logano repassed Kevin Harvick to take over 3rd place again as we dive into turns 3, doing my best to clear him, and we get about half a car length ahead, but we need to clear him through turn 3, and we're unable to do that. So he gets an incredible run every time as well on the exit of the corner. So definitely frustrations building at this point. Now on lap 32, 4 laps to go, same situation here again with Kyle Busch, but unfortunately, every time I was making this move and battling side by side into the corner with our teammate Kyle Busch, it was allowing 3rd place of Joey Logano to creep in closer and closer and closer each and every single lap to right now, where he's now within a car length of us as we go down this front straightaway, but we would hold him off here. And sure enough, again, lap 33, another run out of the tunnel turn, this time even further back, but I try it anyways as we go into turn 3 just because you never know, maybe maybe he'll go a little bit wide and we'll get lucky here. Coming to just 2 laps to go, by the way, now as we come through out of turn 3. Still nothing there on Kyle Busch here as we came through now with 2 laps to go out of the tunnel turn again, and we're going to try it again here. This is like the 5th time we've tried it now in these final 5 laps here. Logano, though, would love to see this continue to happen now as he's ready to pounce, as we're almost clear of Kyle again, but can't quite make it happen here as we exit turn 3. A little bit of contact there with the 18 of our teammate. It's going to be between myself and Kyle Busch for the victory now as we get in right away now as we're underway for the final lap here in Pocono, using that draft to my advantage. Of course, I know if I make a move into turns 1, it's probably not going to work very well considering how my car drives into the corner here. The back end really likes to kick out, so I decide we're going to wait here till the exit of turns 1, and look at this, we get a very good launch on the exit of turns 1, and we might be able to make a move here before the tunnel turn. Logano about 3 car lengths back. We go up the inside here of Kyle Busch side by side with our teammate here for the win. We're the only JGR driver without a win here so far in our rookie season as well. Through the tunnel turn side by side here for the final time on the final lap here in Pocono, right on that door of Kyle Busch now as Logano is ready to pounce here as we dive down towards turn 3, right on the quarter panel, not far ahead to clear him, so we know what we got to do. We got to give it everything we've got here as we come through turn 3. We're pushing way up the track, contact with the 18, and now we're sideways and we hit the outside wall as Logano is going to come through from P3 to win here in Pocono as he passes us both, coming through to the line to finish in the 2nd position here in Pocono. I gave it absolutely everything I had, and you saw all race that I just couldn't clear the leader into turn 3, so I throttled up way earlier, and I didn't even back out of the throttle until I absolutely had to. There was a little bit of contact with Kyle Busch that pushed us up even higher, and of course I lost the back end with that contact, and then I just corrected a little too much into the outside while I go, and unfortunately Logano goes from P3 to the win. But of course we have a post-race interview here with Matt O'Brien to do.
We're here with Gary Owen again. What do you finish that turned out to be, Gary? Certainly not in your favor. What all went down?
Yeah, that was not a pretty one, Matt. Basically, you know, I gave it away going for my first win. I was giving it everything I had, trying to clear my team. I owe an apology to Kyle. I messed him up as well there, getting in his way, and we let Logano win it. But yeah, just pushed too hard, trying to clear him, hit the outside wall. Didn't work out in our favor, but you'll have to move on. I really wanted to win number 1, but unfortunately, it's just going to have to wait another week at least. All right, there you heard the post-race interview with Matt. Now is once again after Pocono, the doubleheader. There you see the playoff grid. Logano moves ahead of Blaney with 2 wins now. We're 215 points to the good. We gained points, but Christopher Bell, the first driver out, is now only 4 points out. De Benedetto down in the 20th is only 33 points out. So a lot can happen here now in this playoff grid this season. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. A very unique one, like I said, the Pocono doubleheader, of course. In the next one, we have a crown jewel, the Brickyard 400. In the NASCAR Heat 4 career mode, we've always had a chance here to do something, so I'm confident. We actually did win in our final Brickyard 400 in the NASCAR Heat 4 career mode over Alex Bowman in what actually was a photo finish. So hopefully we can maybe get something like that here this time around and just get maybe our first ever win at the Brickyard 400 would be pretty cool. So definitely going to push as hard as I can. Johnson still down there in 22nd in points, unfortunately. But that will do it for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.